Hey guys, my name is Dejalride, or you may know me as DJ depending on the person, but I definitely prefer if you called me Dejalride, as there are many people called DJ. And I'm making a game, but this game does something very important. It balances speed and story. Now, here's how I turned my game from this to this in only 5 months. Cue about February 24th, 2024. I was like, I want to make a game. So I followed a platformer tutorial in Unity by this guy called Coding and Flow. The platform was pretty good, but I had two main problems with it. No acceleration and deceleration, and it felt a little too floaty. So I made some changes to it. Added acceleration and deceleration, and there I was. I had a very crappy platformer controller that didn't even have variable jump time. Magnificent. But it was the best thing I had at the time, so regardless, I started making my game. You see, I worked on this project for about a year and added a whole bunch of features. But here's the thing. It wasn't really the game I was imagining. The game I was imagining was kind of like Cave Story, except Cave Story is pretty complex under the hood. Because think of it, you have to make sure that when you enter a door, you don't just go to the next scene and spawn in the middle of it. You have to go to that door when the scene starts up. So, I didn't know how to do that, so I just procrastinated, and the state of the project dwindled, and the folders were just way too messy to work with. So eventually, around November of 2024, I stopped working on it. And in December, I created a whole new project. Originally, I was going to follow a platforming tutorial by another guy who claimed he could give you the perfect one with variable jump height and stuff. But it didn't work. So what do I do now? And then I thought, what if I made my own without a reference for once? And then, all of a sudden, I got a rush of creativity. And I used a lot of lerp, which is linear interpolation, and it felt really good to control. And I kept tweaking the physics, and so this one included variable jump time, kind of buffering, coyote time, dashing, ground pound bouncing, and unique acceleration and deceleration for the air, which is all stuff that the original didn't have. So, let's get back to the order of which I added these things. So first thing I added was the jump, and I made it so if you're not touching the ground, and you weren't pressing the jump key, and you were jumping, then RB.velocity, which is rigid body velocity, gets divided by 5. Allowing for variable jump height. And then I made it so when on the ground, the player's velocity is equal to whichever direction is being pressed times move speed. So like left is -1, right is 1, and then neither is 0, times move speed, which makes it so the velocity is equal to either move speed or negative move speed, or 0. And then I lerped it, which basically just makes it so the value goes up in a linear fashion to whichever one it is from where you were. And it felt really good. So I did the same thing for air. If you're not touching the ground, then it equals that, except it's air acceleration. And it felt extremely good to control. And then I added a ground pound. And then I felt, wait, wouldn't it be even better if it ground pound bounced if you were holding it? And I did that, and it did feel good. So anyways, around this time, the player could move blazingly fast, and I wondered, could I mix speed and story? And by then it wasn't a fully solidified idea, but it was definitely there. I made a quick scene that was kind of like Toxic Caves from Sonic Spinball. Even had a cover of the music in the background. And I really liked the project so far, so I made another scene. And by this time I had to make a door object, so that way you could actually travel between scenes. But here's the problem. it had the same problem as last time. It just teleported you to wherever the spawn point was, instead of the door. This would be fixed later. And the next scene was a city, which didn't have any physics at all, and eventually I would add a proper tutorial scene, a second tutorial scene, which was temporarily designed by my brother, Amex, except he kind of massacred it, so I had to redo it twice. And I'm now very happy with the results. And I got a music composer along the way, and then I decided, wait a minute, how's the player going to speed up fast if they want to go really fast right off the bat? So then I added a dash. And you know how dashes work, I don't have to explain that. But in case you don't, basically it moves you forward really fast for a very small amount of time, allowing you to get a sudden burst of speed forward. Usually this allows you to beat enemies, which in my game it does, and slash or just going really fast. And also, another thing I decided to add was the ability, of course, to actually go to doors, which I successfully did after consulting a good relative that I know who happens to work at Unity. And of course he knew because, well, he works at the place. And now it was feeling really good. Now it was just a matter of making content. So I made content and I added a hub, but then I realized I need story. Where's the story part of this speed and story? And then I realized, wait a minute. If I could balance speed and story, it would be my dream game. So, that's what I did. I simply made it so every once in a while there was a gradual slowing of the action until you eventually came to a halt to talk with a character. And I now have a cast of main characters, unlike last time in the last project, where it was just Cubon, Cubet, Johnny, and Cubit, which is an evil king that decided to bomb Cubon's arcade. Instead now, you are working with Goggles, Chuck, Gigamo, of course Cubet, Cubon's girlfriend, let me think, oh yeah, Darren, and, oh yeah, Tina and Sarah. So Tina is basically just Luma from the Mario movie, saying really dark things for absolutely no reason, because I thought it would be freaking funny. You can't stop me. And all the other characters are pretty much just all working in the rebellion against the king, who slowly but surely became a dictator over time of ruling the underground kingdom. I'll get to the story section later.